good day, and welcome. Welcome to Spreading the Wisdom. My name is Denise Washington, and I am your host. And it is my joy, my pride, my pleasure, and my honor to have today as my guest Roxanne Lashley. Roxanne is currently the oldest Black woman to complete the Appalachian Trail. The Appalachian Trail, which goes all the way from Maine all the way to Georgia. I would like to introduce Roxanne, and she gave me a brief intro to read. Roxanne would like to thank Artrex in Boston. That is the store that sponsored her with her gear for her through hike. She would also like to dedicate her hike in the memory of her grandmother, Ira Charles. She would also like to dedicate it to Brad Washburn. Brad Washburn built the Museum of Science in Boston, where Roxanne worked for 34.5 years. Who has worked that long in any company in this day and age? He also mapped Mount Everest and the White Mountains, which are part of the Appalachian Trail in New Hampshire. Roxanne also gives dedication to Brad's wife, Barbara Washburn, who was the first woman to summit Denali, and to Heather Young, who was a colleague of Roxanne, who passed away in 2020. To all the hikers who didn't finish their through hike, Roxanne says, due to things such as injury or anything else, Roxanne wants you to know she has you. Her exact words were, "I got you." To all the hikers who were with her, and they encouraged her and they supported her, Roxanne is sending love. She says, "I love you guys." To all of Roxanne's friends and family who supported her, she gives you her heartfelt thanks. Most of all, her thanks goes to God, who was with her each and every step of the way. She felt the godly presence. To all the ancestors whose spirits she felt with her each step through her journey. And for the culture, she has this message for you. We got this. Roxanne, it is my pleasure to be speaking to you today. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Thank you.
Let's just start with the whys. Why did you start this journey?
I retired in February of 2023. And I decided that I'll just do this hike that I was planning to do since 2012 when I summited Mount Katahdin with a group of hikers from the Appalachian Mountain Club here in Boston. And on the summit, I saw a lot of through hikers, and I said, I want to be like them.
And that's when the idea kind of blossomed for you to be a through hiker. How many years ago?
That was in 2012.
That was in 2012. Okay. What did you do in between 2012 and 2023?
I did a lot of hiking. I hiked several 4,000 footers in New Hampshire. Close to where I live, there's the Blue Hills. I hike a lot in the Blue Hills. And I did some, charity events, charity hikes, like
Charity.
for the Mount Washington. There's a annual hike named Seek the Peak. It's a fundraiser for the Mount Washington Observatory. So I did that like every year for maybe 5 or 6 years.
Okay, so your cardiac preparation was pretty well founded. You had a very good, strong foundation, cardiac wise.
Yes, ma'am.
Did you add any weight training?
Yes, I actually started doing CrossFit.
Okay, you're definitely my idol, right? You did CrossFit what, 3 times a week, which incorporated
Um,
the training, the weight
no,
training.
it was like once a week for I think 6 months. Once a week for 6 months, yeah. Because I was working, I was picking up a lot of overtime,
Mm-hmm.
getting ready financially for my through hike, and yeah, once a week.
Okay, so really, what you're putting forth, because since I'm a trainer, I hear these things. People tell me they don't have the time. You made the time.
Oh yeah,
You made the time.
yep. You have to prepare, or else when you get to the mount, when you get to the beginning of the AT, you will just throw in the towel and like, this is not for me. I'm going home. So you have to get out there and prepare, check your gear, make sure you could do all the adjustments on your pack, adjust your trekking poles.
Now, you said that you might get to the point where you say, well, this isn't for me. In your training, did you ever hit that point?
No, I knew I wanted to do this, and there was nothing that was going to stop me.
When you find that thing that you must do, nothing's going to get in the way.
Nope, you just obsess about it.
Did you talk about it a lot?
Oh yeah, oh yeah. You could walk into the Museum of Science and you could ask anybody that worked with me how much I talked about the AT.
And they were supportive.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
Now,
I
how did,
mentioned
oh,
I
no,
mentioned this in an interview before. Most of my white friends were like, "Yes, you could do it," and my black friends were, "Oh my gosh, what about the bears?" It was all about the bears. So
now
if you
that's,
notice in some of my photos, I was wearing a whistle around my neck, is because I just wanted to calm people's fears that at least I have something that if the bear approached me, I could make some noise and probably they'll go away.
okay, because as I had told you earlier, I had spoken to people and said, I'm going to be interviewing the oldest Black woman to complete the Appalachian Trail. I cannot tell you how many questions I have concerning bears, which for me, not a big deal. Not that I'm going to go hand in hand combat with a bear, but I live in an area where there's a lot of bears. So it's like, okay, there's a bear, don't pay any attention. But a lot of questions about bears and your safety, and weren't you concerned about that? But that wasn't one of your biggest fears.
Well, it was, but when I was in the Smokies, which has like the largest amount of bears, um, I was hiking alone and my fears just went away. But we had an incident where a bear bit one of my family members, and that was scary. So I was always aware of my surroundings. Make sure I hung my food at night,
Mm-hmm.
and make sure that when you cook, the air is blowing in the direction that it will take the food down the mountain in another direction, and things like that. So you take precautions. But and one of the things I did was to sleep in the shelters where there were lots of people around instead of in my tent. I probably set up my tent maybe 20 times in 8 months. 20, yeah, about 20 times in 8 months. I slept a lot in the shelters.
You slept a lot in shelters.
Yeah.
Okay, because that was going to be a question like, well, how did you handle sleeping? And did you sleep outdoors? And what did you do as far as weather? But most times you did shelters. Now, shelters meaning what, little hostels that were along the way, or hotels, or just anywhere where there were groups of people?
No, shelters along the Appalachian Trails. There are
Mhm.
shelters. It's two sides and a roof, and the front of
Okay.
it is open.
And people just congregate together, and that way there would, again, safety in numbers.
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
That's smart. You see, people like myself who have never even thought about, although when I see through hikers, I think about it for a quick minute when I see them on the trails. But I never thought about where they slept, because I always saw them with the big packs on, thinking, oh, their tents are there. All they do is put up their tents. But you said that in this, because it took you what, 8 months, you said?
Yeah, it took me a long time. Yeah,
I'm
the
just
average
thinking,
hiker takes 6 months, but it took me 8 months because I like to get off the trail and enjoy the area around the trails and meet people in the various towns.
mm-hmm. Okay, so you weren't one of those people that said, well, I'm on a strict time constraint and I have to get to my finishing point. You were enjoying the journey.
Yep, I'm retired. I had time.
Now, how long after you retired did you get on the trail?
I retired on February 23rd, 2023,
Mm-hmm.
and I started my AT journey on April 2nd, 2023.
Okay.
So I had a month and change.
Just to get yourself ready. Okay, and this is purely me. What did you pack? Because I'm looking, and what I'm going to do now is, to be utterly honest, I'm going to share my screen, because you have some beautiful pictures that you gave me. And when I look at some of these pictures, I am amazed, because here's a beautiful one with you. It looks like you're coming into Massachusetts. Welcome to Massachusetts.
My home state.
So you started where?
I started in Georgia. I
Okay.
hiked to Harper's Ferry and then I flipped flop to Maine and then I came southbound.
Okay, because now I'm sharing an actual map, because I want people to realize where you were and the distance you did, because I think this is over 2,000 miles. I think it's 2,068 miles.
2,198.4 miles.
See, if you do it, you know. So what you did was you started in Georgia,
Springer
went
Mountain in Georgia.
went up to Harper's Ferry.
Hiked to Harper's Ferry, which is 1,015 miles, I think. Yes, 1,015 miles.
Okay, because I have the map up on the screen, and that's in West Virginia.
West Virginia, yes, ma'am.
Okay, and when you say flip flop, what does that mean for the people that are not hikers?
So, according to the ATC, if you complete the hike in 1 year, regardless of how you do it,
Mm-hmm.
it's a true hike.
Okay.
So what I did, because they said that you have to get to, if you get to Harper's Ferry by July 4th,
Mm-hmm.
you'll have enough time to just continue going northbound. But I got to Harper's Ferry at about July 20th,
Mm-hmm.
around there. And so I knew if I continue, I wasn't going to make it to Katahdin by October 15th when the park closes. The park closes around then because of the weather.
Okay.
There's extreme weather up in Maine. So I flip flop. And so I was going northbound from Springer to West Virginia. And then I
Mm-hmm.
flip flop from West Virginia to Maine, Mount Katahdin, and then I hiked back
And then you hike back down southbound.
southbound to West Virginia, and that's where I ended my through hike.
Okay, that's a very interesting term. Had never heard about that at all, which is why I wanted to bring up this map so that people could understand that while you were speaking about it, because I didn't want them to think that you flip flopped and then went back home. Oh, because most people think when you are doing this trail, and I'm going to stop sharing my screen. When you do the trail, that you have to start from either end and just go straight. But this way, you were able to avoid some of that bad weather,
Right.
correct? And you
Yes,
would
ma'am.
still be able to enjoy warmer weather.
And it's still considered a through hike.
I figure any way you could do that would be considered a through hike. To be utterly honest, I would consider that, because like I said, I've met people on the trails, and of course, if they're a through hiker, many of them aren't. They don't have much time. They'll stop and they'll talk, and we'll give them snacks and stuff. But you can tell there's a purpose for what they're doing. Now, did you often come off the trail and visit towns? And if so, what was the reception? Because you're talking about going the eastern seaboard.
Oh yeah. People embrace me because only 1% of the true hikers are Black.
Mm-hmm.
So when I go into town, I was like a rock star.
You were a rock star anyway, but
People would stop and pray for me because down south, the Bible Belt,
yeah.
people would stop and pray for me and chat with me, ask me what I have in my bag, and you know my the weight, and yeah. So I was told that things are going to be tough down south for me, but
Mm-hmm.
to be honest, I didn't have any bad experience because we were only in those towns for a day. You know, we're
Oh,
not we're not there for a week or a month. So people just people just love us. Plus, we help with the economy of
that's
of
true.
those towns along the Appalachian Trail.
I never thought about that, but that probably would be a big revenue
Yes.
generator for them, the through hikers. Now, did you meet very many Black people, men or women, that were doing the hike itself?
No, I met one lady that we became friendly with, but she was like 2 months ahead of me.
Mm-hmm.
Her trail name is, we all go by trail names. Her trail name was Dragonfly. She was from, I think, I can't remember if it's North or South Carolina.
I might have seen her story. That sounds familiar. Well, can I ask you what was your trail name?
My trail name is Foxy.
Foxy. Ooh, I like that.
So my name is Roxanne,
Uh-huh.
but people call me Roxy, and some people call me Foxy Roxy, and hence the trail name, Foxy.
Okay. Who gave you that trail name? Did you go out there with that, or did it become something that acquired once you were out?
So when I was doing a training hike in Massachusetts,
Mm-hmm.
um, Upper Goose Pond, I met a hiker from Massachusetts. I think his name was Boston, and um, and he gave me that trail name.
And he gave you that trail name, and it stuck. I love that. I had no idea, because I see people online when they're talking about it. They, you know what they do? They do say, and my trail name is blank, whatever. Okay. Now you talked about your backpack. What did you carry to prepare for all these months out on the trail? I can barely pack light for a day hike, right? My pack is heavy for a day hike. So I cannot imagine for all these months. What did you carry?
Okay, so I had a Osprey backpack. Um,
Love that brand.
I I had my sleeping bag,
Mm-hmm.
my food bag, um, a few toiletries, my tent, And one, I had my raincoat, my puffy jacket, and I had another jacket, Atom Arcteryx. All my gear was from Arcteryx. So
Arcturus.
yes, and yep. What else? What else? I had my medication because
Yeah.
at my age
At our age, yes.
you
We
need
got
the
to take
meds.
that also with us. Yes.
Yeah. Oh, a stove, a cook set, which is your stove, your pot, a cup, um, fuel.
Meaning gasoline.
Yes, yeah, yeah, fuel. Uh huh.
And that was to generate the flame for the stove, correct?
Uh huh.
How much fuel? Because, see, I'm just thinking about myself. I could see the great flame accident happening, me and fuel out on the trail. But how much fuel?
There's two sizes
Mm-hmm.
that most outfitters carry, and I started with the larger can,
The larger
and
can. Okay.
yeah, and I wasn't cooking that much, so when that ran out, I wasn't cooking that much because every 3 days we will go into town and we'll resupply and we will eat tongue food.
Okay, because I was wondering, I hear that some hikers, some through hikers, will send packages to themselves to hit in certain post offices along the way. But you didn't do that. You did fresh food along the way, whatever area you were in.
Yeah, I didn't like the idea of because I saw this happen to other hikers. It's a holiday weekend. They're expecting a package, and the post office is closed
Ooh.
Sunday and Monday. So it costs them more money to wait around at the hostel until the post office open or until they get the delivery at the hostel. Um,
Okay.
yeah. So I read about that and I didn't want to be a victim.
That was smart. That was definitely smart rather than just going out there unknown, thinking, okay, I'll just pick up my package. You keep referring to we, and I don't want to let that go by. Did you hike with other hikers? Did you start with other hikers? Did you meet people out on the trail?
I started with another hiker
Hmm.
and my backpack was heavy, so I was a little slow and she kind of kicked me to the curb.
Did she really?
Yep. She said, I want to hike my own hike. See you. So I just took off alone and I met Highlight and we I met her close to 60 miles in
Hmm.
and we hiked together for a few hundred miles until I hiked with four other people and that was before I flipped.
Okay. Did you have other hikers that were flipping also, or were people just going straight through?
Yes, several hikers flipped, but not everyone flipped from Harper's Ferry.
Okay.
Harper's Ferry is the unofficial halfway point. Some people flipped at the exact halfway point, which is in Pennsylvania, at the Appalachian Trail Conference. There's a museum there, so that's the halfway point.
That's the halfway point.
The halfway point, but the unofficial halfway point is in West Virginia at the Appalachian Trail Conference. So people flipped. People flipped from Damascus,
Mm-hmm.
um, from Harper's Ferry. People flipped from the halfway point in Pennsylvania. People flipped from Vermont. People flipped from New
Oh,
Hampshire. Yeah, they just shuttle up because we really needed to get to Katahdin before the cold weather hits or before the park closed.
before they closed the park, because now the park is closed. You know what? You're giving us so much flavor and dimension to this hike, because again, people just think, okay, you sew your stuff on your back, you start from one, then you go straight to another, and that's an option. But there are different ways for people to complete this hike, which, to be utterly honest, maybe more people, more women, more Black women would be inclined to do this if they knew that there were alternate ways to do this. Because I had read that some people do it over weekends, which I personally would think would take me years. But I mean, if that's how they wish to do it, I mean, there are many ways to do this.
Yes, if you do it over a period of years, they call that section hiking.
So it's
So
not
you'll hike like Blood Mountain, you'll hike maybe the 100-mile wilderness in Maine. Maybe you'll do an entire state.
okay.
So, I know people who've been doing it for like 20 years since they were in college.
Wow. Okay, we're gonna have to go back to 100-mile wilderness. I'm sorry. I know it's gonna sound like my brain is going and I'm squirreling all over the place. The 100-mile wilderness. What I have an image that's just coming to my mind. Please describe this to me, please.
The 100-mile wilderness is in Maine. And it starts at either Katahdin and runs to like Shaw's Hostel, around Shaw's Hostel in Maine. Or you could start, some people do the 100-mile wilderness from Shaw's Hostel to Katahdin. So, but I did it. I hiked Katahdin and then I came back south.
Okay.
But the 100-mile wilderness, it's rugged, and there's a lot of water crossings, and oh my gosh, it's scary. It's really scary. It's wild because I recently learned that they don't have a lot of bridges across the streams and stuff because of the heavy snow, and the bridges would get damaged. So you just have to do the water crossings, and they are sketchy, really sketchy. When it's not rainy season, you could like rock hop some of those water crossings, but a lot of times I just walk through them.
Okay.
With your sneakers and everything, you just walk through it because it takes too much time for you to take your boots off or your trail runners off and walk across. And then when you get across, you got to put that on. It just takes time. So a lot of us just walk across with our hiking boots. Or
and then
some
you
people
keep hiking afterwards, or are you changing? You're changing your socks and stuff.
No, you just keep hiking. And then when you go to camp, you'll put on dry socks.
Okay.
And and then you start with dry socks with wet sneakers the next day.
Now, I want people to understand water crossings only because how high was the water in some spots?
Oh, in some spots in the 100-mile wilderness,
yes,
the water crossing was up to your chest.
Up to your chest. That's what I want people to understand, because I know I have done water crossings in New Jersey, what I were told were water crossings. And really, these were just little putsy streams.
Yeah.
But when I went to Iceland, and I was like, no, that's a river. I'm not crossing that, which I ultimately did and felt really good about it. But I wanted people to understand. And when you're doing this water crossing, that water is not still, correct?
Oh, no. It's moving. It's moving. So we had to learn how to do the water crossings. What you do, you face the current and you walk sideways.
Yeah.
And if it's a group of people, you just huddle together and you move like that.
And that got everybody across safely.
Yes, we lost one hiker in Steady Eddie. We lost Steady Eddie in Vermont this year.
Wait, lost meaning he
Steady
didn't make.
Eddie, he drowned.
He did drown.
Yes, in Vermont.
Oh my goodness. That's unfortunate. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I wanted people to understand that this isn't this little river where when you said rock hopping, no, this isn't it. And the current is moving quickly. Yes, and probably with all the snow and everything else that they had the previous year, that made it even more so. But you were experienced doing water crossings, correct? No.
No, no, no. As a matter of fact, I got scared every time I hear the water because you'll be coming down the mountain and you will hear the water. And oh my gosh, my anxiety just kicked in.
You'd hear
I
the
was,
force of it.
you'll
Yeah.
hear, oh my gosh, you'll hear it, and I'll get so nervous. But there was always people around to help you. You know, some guys will grab your backpack and take it across for you, and then they'll come
Mhm.
back and hold your hands and help
Oh,
you. So
that's
I had people that helped me with the water crossings.
okay, but let's be honest. By the time you finish, first of all, finishing that, and I will ask you, you know what? I'm not even going to. How did you feel after having done all of the, after you've completed this humongous adventure with all the things that were challenges, which we haven't even hit yet? How did you come back changed?
But first, my body changed. I lost 35 pounds.
Okay, for anybody that wants weight loss, there you go. 35 pounds, 8 months.
35
There you
pounds.
go.
Oh, yeah. There's people that lost 70 pounds.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Well, that's because you're constantly going and you
Oh,
really
yeah.
can't eat enough calories to maintain. Huh.
Yeah. A lot of people are, I mean, most people that I know lost weight.
Lost weight. Okay, so there was the physical changes that of course happen, and probably areas of your body you probably gained muscle somewhere too. Well, there you go. There you go.
Using your trekking poles, you work in your upper body.
Mhm.
So, yeah, you get stronger.
Okay, now I want everybody to hear that. Roxanne said using your trekking poles. I know personally I hike with people that feel that when they use the trekking poles, that's signaling that they are old. But that's not it. Roxanne, why should people use poles, please? Because nobody wants to listen to me, so why would someone use their trekking poles?
It helps you climbing and it helps you going downhill. And a lot of times, if you're going on, there's some areas that is like you'll hike maybe 5 miles that is just flat.
Mm-hmm.
You don't need your trekking poles, but when you're climbing, you just need to adjust them so they're not that tall, and you power your way up and down, coming down the mountain.
Mm-hmm.
Use the trekking poles because I usually put my trekking poles in front of me, so if I slip, um, my trekking poles will catch me.
That they'll catch you. Okay.
Yes, yes. So, but a lot of hikers don't use trekking poles. They just a lot of the younger hikers use
Yes.
trekking poles, and some of the older folks they just use like one wooden, like a staff.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, and they told me that that helped them pull them up
That
when
just
they're
that
climbing.
one will help them
Yes.
get up. I'll be honest, it did take me personally a while to be able to get coordinated enough. But once I did, I have not that I have to, but it makes it a much more pleasurable experience, particularly if I'm going uphill, that I can just, oh, okay, and just go up. But
Yes.
that,
Right
so,
hand, right hand, left foot,
right, exactly. What
and oh, works every time.
that took a while for me to get coordinated enough because the first time I used them, I fell. But we're not going to talk about that right now. We're gonna let that one go.
There's
So,
some areas, sorry, there's some
no,
areas where I had to put away my trekking poles. Like when I did the Mahusik, Mahusik Notch, it's
Mhm.
rocks. You can't use trekking poles.
Because it's
You
just a
have to.
bunch of rocks.
Yes, it's rocks. So yeah, in some rocky areas, you have to put the trekking poles away. It's totally useless, and you have to use your hands.
Okay. Okay. Love scrambling. I really do. Now there was the physical changes. Any mental changes coming back? Or any or is it still too soon?
I think it's still too soon. But
Yeah.
one thing, I living out of my backpack for 8 months,
Mm-hmm.
um, I collect a lot of things, and I think I'm going to let some of those things go because it's just, to me now, it's just clutter.
That's interesting. So maybe it'll be easier to let go of these things.
Yep. Yeah, because living out of your backpack with just those items that I mentioned and a few more, yeah, you don't need all the stuff. It's just stuff. It's just junk.
It's just extra stuff.
It's just extra stuff. It's like now, it's, to me, it's a waste of money buying those things. You know.
So I might have to ask you back in about 6 months so that we can have this talk again. But food wise, because I'm a big snacker on the trail, I'm not gonna lie to you. What did you carry?
I carry food from Peak. It's dehydrated food,
Okay.
and so I'll buy that at the Outfitters or Mountain House. But they have a lot of salt, and I have high blood pressure,
Yeah,
so
that's not helping.
so
That's
I
not helping.
really had to watch, check the sodium content.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but most hikers, we use ramen noodles. Oh my gosh,
Really?
you wouldn't believe some of the things we put in ramen noodles: peanut butter, cheese, all kinds of stuff. Chips. People will break chips up and just put it in the ramen noodles.
At that point, you're just looking for calories, really. We're not looking for gourmet meals. We're looking for
No.
calories.
And I have to tell you this, that most of the guys came up with like the best
Did they?
recipes. Oh yeah. Oh my gosh. It's different watching women eat on the trail and watching guys eat on the trail. Oh my gosh. Women might eat one pack of ramen noodles. Guys would have two packs of ramen noodles, peanut butter, chips, anything that will fit in that pot.
And they'll just cook it and eat it, and they're like, "Ah, okay, I'm good."
Oh yeah.
I never heard of. I mean, I've heard of people doing the dehydrated food,
Dehydrated food, yes.
and
Yeah, there's a
occasionally they'll go off trail so that they can have a meal.
mhm. Some people took bagels too. I saw a girl with a pack of bagels, and I was like, I never thought about that. That's a bagels. It's heavy.
I was gonna say, doesn't that add to the pack?
Yeah, but you as a hiker, you have to decide what is important for you. Is it important for you to carry? I carry 2.5 liters of water.
Yes, that's me.
A lot of hikers don't carry that much. They will camel up. That's a term they use, camel up at a water source, and then just take a liter. But I was always scared of running out of water. And sometimes when you get to shelter to get to the water, it's like really steep. And so if I have water from my day hike, I
Mm-hmm.
wouldn't have to go down that steep hill after hiking 10 between 10 and 15 miles a day to get water.
That was smart. So you were thinking ahead, because I was going to ask you, did you take any filtration devices with
Oh
you?
yes, yes, I
You
took the Sawyer squeeze filter. Most hikers use the Sawyer squeeze filter.
Okay? How reliable is it? I mean, you didn't get sick or anything.
No, it's It's good. It's really good. What we do is when you get to a hostel and
Mm-hmm.
there's running water, you would back flush your filter and get all the crap out of your filter. So most of us did that every 3 days when we get off trail to go into
Mm-hmm.
town. Yeah. So and you have to be careful too. You have to if it get below freezing, you have to sleep with it in your sleeping bag because it will damage the cold will damage your filter.
Okay, so when you said that you took these 2.5 liters, you took them in a bladder
Um,
or you took bottles?
I took bottles.
Did.
The bottles. If you notice, a lot of hikers carry the smart water bottle because they're more durable. They're durable than the auto water bottles. Um, some people carry the same smart water bottle for months, and you know they have it that long because the cap would be
You
have
could tell.
dirt. It has
You could
dirt in
tell.
it
Okay. And
from twisting the cap off.
now I just want you to know that if you see me looking down every so often, I'm taking notes for my future. I just want you to know. I'm not doing the Appalachian Trail, but I'm definitely taking notes for my future hikes here. So that's why I'm looking down. Okay, so you took the water bottles. Didn't you think that that was going to add more weight? Well, again, you made that decision though. You made
Yeah,
it.
my weight was I did two shakedowns.
And a
And for
shakedown is
a shakedown is you go to an outfitter and they go through your backpack and they tell you you don't need that, because I took like a towel. And when I went to Neil's Gap,
yeah.
um, nope, you need to send that home.
Really?
I sent home my beer canister. That thing cost me close to $400, and I
Yes.
was told you don't need that.
Wait, the bear canister, which had things like bear spray in it and things like that,
No,
correct?
the beer canister have your food.
And they said you didn't need that.
Exactly. And so there are some areas like Blood Mountain where if you're going to stay at a shelter in Blood Mountain in that section, you need to have a beer canister. But I just did a day hike through that and I didn't
You
need a
didn't
beer
need it.
canister.
So you
So
didn't need it.
yeah, most of us, because people look at it's weight. Um, Although the one I bought was a carbon fiber, it was kind of big, so it
Hmm.
took over a lot of space in my backpack. So I was told you don't need it. Just hang your food at night. So that's what we did.
Now, how high did you have to hang your food?
Um, let's see. Um, Maybe I'll say 20 feet. I, I can't remember the exact
Okay.
height, but yeah. So they have around some shelters have bare cables where you just attach your food and you just pull the
Oh,
cable and
okay.
send it up.
Hmm.
Or some places you just you have a rock and a rope and you throw it over a branch and and you send your food up. You do the PCT hang, which I never mastered.
And that is what?
It's a way you tie it off
Hmm.
so that the bear can't access it,
Oh, okay.
and then you tie to a tree. So yeah,
Okay,
yeah, the
so that you can
PCT
still
hang it
get
to
it, but the
yeah, you
bear
could get,
does not.
but
Okay.
the bear can't get it. But trust me, the bear went down the mountain and took out seven food hangs. And
Oh,
oh yeah, people lost their food. They had to get off the trail. Oh yeah, those bears, they are smart.
this is true because if they can get into cars to get foods because they know what
Yes,
our little coolers look like, then yeah, they know. They're like, oh, I understand what that is, and if they really want it, they're going to get it.
Oh yeah,
Now that I
definitely.
know must have been expensive. What was the financial cost of this trip overall? Just an
Uh,
estimate.
um, they said that you need between $6,000 and $7,000 while on the trail.
Okay, that's on the trail. That's not even talking about
That's not
preparing.
talking. No, that's not talking about buying that backpack for
Yeah.
$250
Mm.
and food bag and gear and bear spray and
And stuff that they
bug
said to send
bug
home. Yeah.
spray
Oh, yeah,
and
and bug spray too.
yeah. But if you wear hiking boots,
Mm-hmm.
most hikers go through two hiking boots for the entire trail. But if you wear trail runners, I went through one pair of boots and like four trail runners.
And for trail runners. Now, those you carried with you, correct?
No, the trail runners you actually wear. That's
I mean, you didn't buy them along the way because you needed them to be broken in before you left, correct?
no, you don't need to break in trail runners.
Okay, you can tell I wear boots, right?
Yeah, you just buy it and you just buy it and wear it. So there are outfitters along the way
Mm-hmm.
where you could buy, or some people bought it at REI and
Yes,
had it shipped to them
to ship where they were.
at a hostel or to the post office.
So about 6,000, 6 to 7,000 to
Six to
start
seven
with.
thousand to start.
To
Yeah,
start with.
but there are many people who start with like $0.
Are those mostly younger hikers?
No,
Really?
not younger hikers. The ones that I ran across, they're like in their 40s. But people plan to work along the way. So
Oh.
most of the hikers who did that, they'll work to stay at a hostel,
Mm-hmm.
or they'll work. They have like carpentry skills or masonry skills or things like that.
Oh.
So they'll stop along the way and do some construction work, or yeah,
Okay. Well, okay.
they refer to it as the trail provides.
The trail provides. Okay, that's a lot of faith because I could see me leaving New Jersey thinking, all right, the trail's not going to give me anything except a bunch of people that are going to be day hikers. They're going to give me snacks. That's going to be it. Because I'm that day hiker that if I see a through hiker, you're getting all my snacks. Okay, you're getting all my snacks. Just in case, just to be safe, really. But now you sound so experienced as far as backpacking. I know that you're a very experienced hiker. Were you an experienced backpacker, like for days?
No,
No. So your first venture was eight months out on the trail.
no, I did like weekend backpacking trips, but nothing over a week.
You're amazing. You are absolutely amazing. You are amazing. Then, how did you feel physically each day during this hike? Because you were hiking how many hours each day?
Some days in the summer we'll hike from maybe let's say 8 o'clock, 8 o'clock to 6 or 7.
6 or 7. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but after I flip flop and I was
Mm-hmm.
going southbound, the days were shorter.
Yeah,
So sometimes at like 4:30, 5 o'clock, I'm setting up camp.
you're setting up camp because it's going to get darker.
Yeah.
How did that feel emotionally? I know for me, the shorter days kind of messes with my mood. How did that affect you? As I know that you interacted with people, but this was you on your solo journey.
Yeah, I I stay up late at night. So
Okay.
it was tough for me on trail because at 6 o'clock, you know, even in the summer, 6 o'clock, sometimes people are already in their sleeping bag,
Hmm.
and they get upset if people are just hanging around a fire or something because they want to sleep because they hike all day and they're tired.
They're
But
tired.
regardless of how tired I was, it's hard for me to sleep at 6 o'clock or 7 o'clock. I'm usually, if we have service, I'm usually on my phone.
Okay. Okay. So you're usually on your phone. So
If we
maybe you
have
average.
service.
So what were you averaging hours of sleep per night if you were
Um,
tracking
see, maybe 8 hours.
that? That's not bad. That's
eight
pretty.
hours because you have no choice. It's dark. Everybody's sleeping and snoring. Well, the thing is, I snore, so I always wanted to fall asleep last
Oh, okay.
because when other people already are sleeping, so I wouldn't keep them awake.
Okay. That was considerate. That was very
But you
considerate.
know what? I'm telling you, if there's 12 people in a shelter, 10 of us are snoring. 10 of us are snoring.
And to be honest, those 10 that are snoring, how many of those 10 own up to the fact that they snore?
Oh, yeah. People are like, oh, I don't snore. I don't snore. It's
Mhm.
like, yes, you do.
Yeah.
I
Oh,
heard you. But
yeah.
some people actually record other hikers snoring
Because they
because,
said adamantly that they didn't snore.
yep.
Did you have any injuries that
Yeah.
might have stopped a mere mortal? And you know what I'm referring to, that might have stopped a mere mortal from completing this, but did not stop you.
I think most of the people who were injured
Hmm.
and got off trail, it was serious. It was serious because my friend Dragonfly,
Hmm.
she broke her wrist
Okay.
and she continued hiking. So I think it has to be related to like your legs, you know,
Okay.
for
See,
you
I
to
was
stop. I think other injuries, I think people just keep going. A guy broke his nose and he kept going. So it had to be something serious for you to get off trail because nobody wants to curtail a true hike.
okay. So I was trying to be subtle. Obviously, this did not work. You had an injury that might have taken many people off the trail. Could you please talk to me about that injury?
Yes, about 90 miles before I finished my true hike in Pennsylvania, I tripped over a rock and I fell flat on my nose. And I tell people if I was Caucasian, it would have been broken.
It
But
was,
because I'm black and my nose is flat,
it was
I,
fine.
I was fine. It just, I had a bloody nose and that's it. Um, yes, I fell and I went to the hospital and the emergency room, and they did some CAT scan and X-ray, and they found that I separated the AC joint in my right shoulder. And they told me to come back the next day and go to the orthopedic department. And I was staying at a B&B, and I asked the host to drive me back to the trail, and I continue hiking because my daughter's a physical therapist. And I knew once I finish and I get home, I could rehab.
Once you finished and got home in Massachusetts from you hiking back down south, you knew you would be okay.
Yes,
But
because my daughter's a PT.
that was about another how many days?
Um, 4 days.
That was another 4 days. What did you do with the pain?
Well, the pain was bad when I slipped my hand into my jacket, into my
Mm-hmm.
puffy jacket, or when I slipped my hand into my backpack. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
um, yeah. Only only then. And if I raise my arm like this high,
Uh-huh.
it will hurt. But just hiking and moving my arm like this, no problem, no problem at all.
I'll ask you, what happened to you once you finished?
Oh my
Once
gosh!
you finished, were
At that,
people there? Were
yep. So I finished with a hiker named Castaway, and so we hiked through several states together, and so we were communicating with other folks, and a few of them came out to meet us. But at that time, that moment that I walked into the Appalachian Trail conference in West Virginia, I was the happiest person in the world.
were you?
Yes, I was so happy. I mean, I did the Appalachian Trail. I was confident that I was going to make it because I know I'm a strong person. And I had so many people rooting for me, and there was no way I was going to let any of those folks down. If I had to crawl to Harper's Ferry, I was going to crawl. There was there was nothing that was going to stop me, and I was happy that I made it. I was a little cocky, but I mean, I didn't express to people like bragging, oh yeah, I'm going to make it or anything like that. But well, I did mention to a few people that if you want to finish the Appalachian Trail, ride with me.
Okay.
I did mention that because I
Because
was
you knew
determined.
you were going to
Yes.
finish, and you know what? There is nothing wrong with being confident because you knew that you were a determined woman and that you were going to finish this trail regardless.
I wasn't going to
Re-
let down the ancestors. I wasn't going to. Well, my grandmother, let me tell you this quick story about my
no, go
grandmother.
right ahead.
My grandmother, Ira Charles, she she was a domestic,
Mhm.
and she will go shopping, and she will carry a basket with
Mm.
groceries, and she will walk from Stabrook Market to Sobrianville.
How far was that?
Stabrook Market to Sobrianville, gotta be maybe 10 miles.
Okay, so she was preparing the path for her future hiker.
Yep. And my uncle told me this story. He said that he would pay for a taxi for my grandmother,
Hmm.
and she will get in the taxi, and when the taxi got to like a block, she will ask the driver for the money, and and she'll walk.
She'd walk the rest of the way.
Yes, so yes, her spirit was definitely with me because she walked everywhere, and so I really wanted to dedicate this my true hike.
To her and all the ancestors that were there cheering you on and who knew even before you knew that you were going to be able to successfully complete this. And the fact that you are the oldest black woman to do this is amazing. I mean, it's amazing anyway, but you are the oldest black woman to do this, which proves that life after 60 is darn marvelous, which I keep trying to
Yeah.
tell people.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I know it's too soon, but what's your next challenge?
I so part of the Appalachian Trail, there's a long trail in Vermont, and when we hiked the Appalachian Trail,
Hmm.
half of it, half of the long trail was on the Appalachian Trail, in
Okay.
Vermont. So I would love to complete the long trail in Vermont. And I hiked with Castaway, and she's from Ohio.
Mm-hmm.
And she told me that no woman has true hike the Buckeye Trail in Ohio. And so that got me thinking, maybe I want to be the first woman to hike the Buckeye Trail. So I'm thinking about, I'm thinking about that. But I don't know how I'm going to squeeze it in because
With
I have,
everything else.
yes, but definitely two things I want to do. I want to complete the 4,000 footers in New Hampshire, and I want to finish the long trail.
And you want to finish the long trail. And the long trail you said was in Vermont?
It's in Vermont. I can't remember how many 100 miles it is, but I know I did half of it.
Oh, you did half of it
Yes,
recently on the Appalachian
I'm on the
Trail. You
Appalachian
did
Trail.
that.
So I just have to do the second half. Oh my gosh, the sunrise, the sunset, the um the power of the water, the trees, the blueberries. Oh my gosh,
The
there's
different
nothing
smell.
you cannot sitting on a couch. You can't
You can't,
experience.
can't get it.
You
You
can't
can't experience
experience.
it. And I know that they are looking down and are very proud. I know they are rejoicing with you today. If there is something that you could tell any black woman out there about hiking or getting out into nature, what would it be?
Let's do it. Yeah, I'm willing to travel any part of this country if somebody calls me up and say, "Hey, I want to hike. Could you hike with me?" I'll drop everything and go there and hike because I want to encourage everyone, the youngest kid, the oldest person, black or white.
Get out.
Let's just do it. Let's just enjoy the outdoors. The outdoors is there for everyone to enjoy. It really don't cost you anything because we already have sneakers. We already have shorts and t-shirts.
Mm-hmm.
Let's just go there. Let's just do it. I mean, I hike in the Blue Hills. There are people in the Blue Hills who will not hike anything else but the Blue Hills. But you know what? They're hiking.
Right.
It's close to home. They don't have to travel. Like if I want to hike in New Hampshire,
Mm-hmm.
3.5 hours I have to drive to get to New Hampshire to hike. You just have to do it in your neighborhood. You
Yeah.
know, just call me up. Let's hike. I'll hike with you. Any one of you that want to hike, just call me.
Now, I hope everybody who's listening to this heard this because I know personally I'm going to take advantage of this. Even though I have hiking areas near me, I am going to take advantage of this because hiking with Roxanne to me would be a magnificent experience. Roxanne, I think that that is the perfect note to end on. Is there anything else that you want to tell me about this marvelous adventure?
Oh, I also want to mention, I forgot earlier
Okay,
that
no problem.
we also need to take in our backpacks. We need to carry bug spray because oh my gosh, I got bitten up so much.
Did you?
Oh yeah. Um, now the marks are kind of fading, but
Mm-hmm.
yes. So I will advise anyone going out there in the spring and the summer to wear bug spray, to carry a bug net, because you'll be like this for the entire trip and you're not going to pick up miles that way.
Now, it was any commercial brand, or do you have a favorite?
No, because different people, will choose different things because of the ingredients. So just get any bug spray that just read the ingredients and see.
For you?
But DEET seems to be any bug spray with DEET. Um, it's really good because we're dealing with ticks and all kinds of stuff. So we need to protect ourselves, and DEET is the way to go.
D would be the way to go. And you mentioning that just made me think of one question that I had for you. What is your favorite brand of hiking boot?
Um, my favorite brand of hiking boots. I I started out with the trail runners, and
Hmm.
I use the Arc'teryx hiking boots to start with, and
Okay.
I use the Solomon to end my true hike. So Arc'teryx
Arc'teryx. Okay.
and Solomon. But I have different brands. Whatever is on sale that I feel comfortable with, I wear. And I'll tell people that we all our feet, it's different. So
Mhm.
what works for me might not work for
Right.
you. So you just need to go to an REI or Outdoor 76 or
Hmm.
EMS and just try on a pair of boots and walk around and see how it feels. Um, don't look at what other hikers are wearing,
Hmm.
because it might not work for you. Most true hikers, we wear trail runners because it's
Gotcha.
lighter. So we
Hmm.
wear either topos or um, um, hookahs.
Okay, I've heard of those
Hookahs is
too.
really popular. Really good cushioning. So yeah, hookahs is really good, and so the hookahs and the topos, they work best for me.
Okay. I swear this will be the last question. Anything humorous happened to you out on the trail that you think about now and laugh at?
Whew. Yes. So when when we were at Cosby Knob, um, a bear bit my friend, and you're always told not to run when you see a bear.
Yes.
And so the bear came into camp. My friend was coming from the privy. The bear made a huff and bit her, and I ran to the top level of the shelter. And the guys were like, "Do not run." And I said to them afterwards, "You don't tell a black person not to run when danger is coming towards them."
That would have been me.
so, so yeah, so yes, my friend, she got bit by the bear, and
Was she okay? Did she need stitches? What?
no, she got bitten by the bear, and she had to go to the emergency room because you can't get rabies shot at like a urgent care.
Oh,
You
yeah.
have to go to the emergency room.
Hmm.
So she went to the emergency room. She got a rabies shot. Um, because the bear bit someone, they had to take the bear out.
Yeah.
So they had to kill the bear. So sharpshooters came out later that night, and Mr. Bear came right back walking
He
into that shelter,
did.
and they took him out, and they cut the head off to test it for rabies. So after she had two rabies shots, um, the rangers, they told her that the bear didn't have rabies, so she didn't have to take any more rabies shots. So that was good because we had to go to the emergency room all the time.
Ooh,
So that was good. Two trips to the emergency room, and it was over.
that
And
must have been very scary for her.
yeah, it was for all of us.
She was on the
Yes,
trail.
and she was a strong individual. She used to be a 911 operator, so she know how to be calm. She knew exactly
She
not to
knew how to be
panic
calm and not
because
to panic.
she deal with all kinds of calls in the past. So she was just, oh my gosh.
I know I would have been.
Yeah, I would have been home.
Exactly.
Next flight out from
Done.
next flight out.
Finished.
Yeah, that happened in the Smokies at yes, Cosby Knob Shelter. And we were reading on Far Out, which is the app we use.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we were reading that there was a bear who was problematic.
Oh.
Yeah, so it wasn't out of the blue. And the rangers said that was the largest bear they have seen. This guy was huge.
He was huge.
Yeah, he came back later that night.
Later that night.
So that happened in the morning, about let's say 8:30.
Mm-hmm.
And he came back that night, and they took him out. Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, that would have been the end for me. Yeah.
Homeboy was a problem.
No, he was a problem, and he needed
was
to
a
be
problem
taken
bear.
out. And
Yeah.
Roxanne wasn't hanging around to see whether or not he was going to bite her.
Hell no! I was up in that shelter.
No, I would have been up in the shelter, and they would have been yelling at me also that I shouldn't run, but. Sorry, that's just the way it goes.
But we run into bears all the time on the trail.
Mm-hmm.
But the average bear don't bite people. The average bear will just scamper off.
That was not the story I expected, but that's okay.
So it's kind of humorous because I ran, and the comment I made is like, you don't tell a black person not to run. But we are in their environment, so that's what we talk about all the time. We're like, hey, this is their habitat. So we're intruding. So let's not leave food around.
Yeah.
Let's not feed the animals.
Roxanne, I want to thank you for your stories. I want to thank you for your adventure, and I want to thank you for sharing your time with me today. It has been my pleasure, and I'm going to tell you, I'm going to be a fangirl for life. So be prepared for me to say, hey, Roxanne, I think I want to try this. Do you want to try this?
Yeah, let's hike sometime. Thank you again for this interview, and I'm glad I'm doing my first interview with you.
I am your first. Thank you so much.